I can go up there.
Yeah, be on camera.
I'll be on camera. Where am I here? Am I on? Okay. Hey, everyone. So Alexis is going to be about 15, 20 minutes late, and she was going to do a mastermind on back to the basics. So I wasn't sure what she's had planned, but we just thought we're just having a in-office conversation here about what we're seeing in the market, some buyers that are backing out, which is kind of unprecedented, right? What maybe just do a pulse check on what we're seeing. I know that I've got clients. I had 2 listings about 2 weeks ago. They're both under 400 and they both went crazy, like old times, I'm taking clients. What I'm finding now is I can take clients to 3 showings, at one time. I mean, used to be 1, you got there as fast as you could and you would, and now, I've got 1 client that, they've got, we're looking tomorrow and we're going to 3 that are over 500 and they've been on the market for 5-6 days and I'm double checked, no highest and best, which is usually, and they're nice houses, and I think probably appropriately priced. And so that's kind of what I'm seeing is it still seems like that 400 is crazy, under 400. And I've been taking clients out that are kind of right around that 400 range. And even stuff that's not great, that's going fairly fast. I was surprised that a couple went quickly, a couple of days. They weren't great homes. And we kind of passed on them. But anyone else, what they're seeing, like I say, things seem a little strange right now, but definitely over 500. They're closer at 600 range. It's like, oh yeah, we'll see it tomorrow or the next day. We've got a little time, and so I don't know what you guys are seeing or online. Lisa, what you're seeing out there?
Everybody, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so I definitely feel a slight shift, not so much in that, like, it's not going to come to a screeching halt, but I'm noticing that we're still in multiple offers, but it's not like 15 offers or 20 offers like it used to be. It's like 2 offers, or we're up against 3 other offers. And so far, all of my accepted offers that I've gotten either on my listings or with my buyers have pretty much been right at full price. So we're not seeing that crazy market where we're writing, 30, 40, 50 grand over to get it. There's definitely more of an opportunity there. And it's just, you still got to move quickly, but I definitely feel like it's slowing down a little bit, and that's a good thing. As far as like getting back to the basics, like I am not on camera right now because I know I need to lead generate like a machine. Because I'm looking at my pipeline, I'm like, okay, I've got everybody under contract. Who's next? I'm like, oh, there's really no one next. Like, we got to get that built back up. So it's getting back into command. It's getting back, reconnecting with leads from earlier in the spring that I talked to, and being really, really visible on social media right now.
How about going back to your accepted offers? Are you getting inspections, guaranteeing appraisal gaps? Are you what?
Yeah. No, in fact, I think I've only had 1 inspection all year on all my 15 deals that I've done. And there was an inspection, but it was non-contingent upon the inspection. So because we were up against 13 other offers. But it's funny because we found some major electrical issues. So we went back to the seller and we're like, hey, we're giving you 40 grand more than you were asking. Can you fix this? And the seller said, sure, we'll fix it. So it still worked out.
Okay.
But no inspections as of lately, which scares me a little bit.
Are you doing any of the taking the inspector with you on a showing, any of that type of thing?
Nope. No, and Most of the houses that I've been fortunate to work with buyers and sellers on have been newer builds. So they've been less than 10 years old. And so everybody's like, we're good. We understand. We'll fix it. It looks like it's in good shape. And it makes you a little nervous because there's always going to be things that are wrong with the house. Yet if you do your job and you educate your client and they understand that we do recommend it, but they still say, no, we're good, then I'm good with that too. So, I was just on a call this morning with Keeping Current Matters. Do you guys plug into that at all?
It's an awesome resource.
Yeah, they had a call this morning. And I'm going to share with you a quote. I was like taking snapshots of some of the quotes that they had, which were statistics from like chief economists. So you can't really argue with those people. They were saying this morning, get this, this was like the best quote that they said. Let me find it. They said, I'm going to share with you two quotes. He said, there has been a pickup in the inventory that we've seen recently, but it's not from a big increase in new listings, but rather a slowdown in the pace of sales.
Sure, days on market, yeah.
Yep. So, and then they said that active inventory continued to grow, rising 21% above 1 year ago. In other words, we're starting to add more options, but the market needs even more homes before shoppers have a selection roughly equivalent to the pre-market pandemic. That wasn't the one I wanted. The one I wanted to share. Oh, here it is. He said, we should start to see less competition, fewer bidding wars, and therefore less upward price pressure. In fact, a simple analysis shows that a 1 month increase in the month supply results in a 3% decline in annualized home price growth. So as more inventory becomes available, so for every month of new inventory that we didn't have in the previous month, it's a 3% decline in sales prices. So I thought that was pretty cool. And just educating our clients and being the voice out there, because there's so much on the news and on the radio and so many people that have no idea how real estate works, but they're telling people that they think they know how real estate works. So it's like, if you can use facts and stats and statistics and you can like understand what's happening in today's market and then share that with the masses, you will be unstoppable.
And what's it? You said that's Keeping Current. I guess I don't know what that. I probably should be watching for that. Is that?
I get their emails and they're on Facebook and they've got lots of things that you can share, on social media. So I plug into that as well. I don't pay for the subscription to be able to co-brand or whatever, but they've got a lot of good material.
Interesting. And that the Economist, that was an economist, did they always have an economist, Lisa, or?
Nope, they find economists in the banking world and like realtor.com, and then they take their quotes and then they share them with us.
Oh, I see. Okay. Because I was thinking maybe, this like an on-air production meeting, but I was thinking we should get an economist in. I know there's a couple of them that are real good, and wouldn't hurt to have one speak to the changes that are happening right now.
Yeah. The other thing they pointed out is that they're anticipating 5.4 million homes sold this year. And to put it in perspective, last year there was 6.1 million homes sold. So I think last year's crazy numbers are going to show up this year, where a lot of people that were looking to move and buy already bought and sold, or bought last year. And I know that there's a lot of realtors in the industry right now, and that much fewer sales is we're gonna start to feel that there's gonna be like a little bit of a squeeze. So it's like reinventing yourself and getting really purposeful and really focusing on your P&L and understanding the numbers at a high level.
Yeah, definitely. I think about the time right before the pandemic, they said, or as we were getting into the pandemic, they were kind of saying that same thing, watch your numbers, and now it's kind of that, it's come back to that again, do you need, do you need these various things, or can you handle them on your own? Or what's really impactful, right? Any marketing that you're doing, is that impactful, not impactful? You know, should you be switching it up, and, you know, and then we're just watching your dollars, you know?
Does everybody in the room and on Zoom, do you guys do a P&L currently?
Honestly, just year end. I kind of keep mine is more of a, I shouldn't say on the expense side. I would just keep like a sales tracker type thing, but not as much expense other than taxes.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else? Do you guys do P&Ls like monthly or biannually just to keep it updated?
No.
I do it quarterly
You do it
with my
quarterly?
accountant. I do with my accountant.
You awesome. Do you
Well-
recommend doing it with your accountant?
If you have been burned in the past, yes. Sadly, yes. I learned from past mistakes. I just finished paying off my 2016 taxes, so I'm all over it.
Mm-hmm.
There's what's this?
Hi.
I gotta get to my Egan showing.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. How are you guys? Good. What have you been talking about so far?
He was just kind of saying, what are we noticing right now in the market?
Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah.
So the intention of the mastermind was just to get together and talk about if any of us have experience from previous markets or market shifts, what are we doing or what are we employing in our business that we definitely weren't 6 months ago? So it's like sharing of best practices. What are we seeing out there that's working? Marketing changes to listings. To me, that's the first thing that comes to mind. And I think approaching buyers differently would be something worth talking about. So anyone online or here in person want to mention anything you're doing that's working or that you're trying?
So
Nope.
this is Chris Kowalik, the newbie, yet old bee. And I seriously am going back to when I got in the business in 2010. I have a plan this week to door knock my entire neighborhood. I'm getting back to the basics. I'm holding 2 open houses next week. I've considered, I have a higher priced Edina listing coming up, and a couple times in around 2014, I had a food truck there that garnered multiple offers, and it was just fun. And it got me 2 more listings in the neighborhood. So
Where's your Edina listing?
58th and Abbott.
Oh, really? Okay.
It
Is it by the creek?
It is not. It's about 4 blocks from 50th and France.
Right. Okay. How much is it going to be?
It's going to be $550.
$550?
Yeah. So a mid price, but I want that neighborhood.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Can you email
I-
me information about that house?
Of course. I tell you guys though, I rented a food truck twice with over $500,000 listings. Both of them got me at least 2 more listings in that neighborhood. Was it worth $2,000? Yep. All day long.
Yeah. That neighborhood.
So,
price point.
and that was, yeah, I mean, that was something I got from my MAPS coach at the time, was do the unexpected, do the above and beyond. And Lisa Sorvig, that goes to you, keeping track of your P&L. What was that profitable for me? Well, I sold a house to the food truck owner too.
Sounds like it was about tenfold profitable or beneficial.
It was, and it could have backfired. I was very purposeful about where those listings were though.
Yeah.
So doing something unexpected.
Yeah. So can you expand on this a little bit more? So you found a food truck of any sort. Did you do middle of the week, weekend? Did you have a?
It was a weekend. I door knocked 3 days before, invited everyone personally to the neighborhood. to the event. I mean, I had hundreds of people show up. And this again was 2014. It was not a hype market.
No. Did you have a max spend? Did you hand out tickets? Did you have just whatever, people could order whatever?
I did set a max budget. I did do a giveaway on top of food, and it was
So did you
fabulous.
pay for the food?
I did.
How many people do you think ate?
At least 80. Like the food was gone.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
cool.
we went through all the food, and it was it's this is kind of funny. Where I got the food truck, my husband and I years ago at the state fair found this West Indies soul food, and we fell in love with their jerk chicken sauce. So we kept buying it, and I called them up. I said, "Hey, I see you have a food truck. Are you for hire?" And they thought that was the coolest thing ever too. So I mean, it's networking, guys. I mean, get in with the food truck people. I mean, it doesn't have to be a food truck. It can be, I had a lender that would haul a grill and grill hot dogs, and it's doing that above and beyond will attract other sellers.
Speaking of lenders, they're a great resource for financial investment into your business. And if you partner with them in the right way, the cost of a food truck might be dramatically reduced as one consideration, as long as and interacting. If you're in the right neighborhood, you bring certain special programs for what's applicable to that neighborhood. What kind of a giveaway did you do with the food truck?
Gift certificate to a local restaurant.
Cool.
I wanted to keep everything local.
Yep, absolutely. So door knocking, the neighborhood you're going to have a listing in. Can you expand on that? What that looks like? Are you knocking before it goes live? Once it goes live, how many houses are you going to hit?
So I subscribe with the food truck. I door knocked 100 doors.
Okay.
I mean, I went big. Normally, when I do a listing, my minimum is 10, 10, 10, 10. Like Gary Keller says. 10 right, 10 left, 10 front, 10 back. I usually will bring a flyer, I mean, you guys know the scripts.
Not everybody does. We've got a mixture of people on the call, and I think that depending on if we've been in leadership or not, I think if you've been in leadership, we have a better chance of knowing all the scripts, but I don't think we have a general consensus of knowledge on what all the scripts are. So anything you're willing to share is great.
Oh gosh, anything. I'm deeply Kellerized, but my script is simple. And I tell you, I am one of those odd people that I love door knocking. I've gotten into some of the best conversations because, again, I always come from some sort of contribution. Like, would love to see you come to the open house if you know of anyone looking to move into the area. I want to see if you think it's priced well, and have you thought of selling? I could do a free CMA. That's basically it. I give them my brochure with my business card stapled to it and invite them to the open house.
Awesome.
In my neighborhood, which I haven't done for years, and shame on me, right? But COVID. Can I blame COVID?
We all can. Yep.
It really is. Here's what I do. I get a list of my preferred. I have a plumber, an electrician. I have a blacktop person, a painter, and a roofer. And they've all kind of agreed that I can pass their name out. And I just knock on the door and say, "Hey, I'm a realtor in the area. I just wanted to introduce myself. And if you ever want to see what your home is worth, happy to do a free CMA. And by the way, here's a list of my preferred vendors." And it's all branded to me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Even I like
Simple.
how your contractor list is, because we can get crazy with contractor lists.
Oh gosh, yeah.
4 names and numbers. And they're like, "Oh, well, this person is a great resource." I mean, that's awesome. And true Keller style is come from contribution. So whether you're making a phone call, you're door knocking, you're sending an email, you're wanting to, if you're in a marketing capacity, you want to come from contribution. So whether it's offering literally a giveaway, a food truck, or just something simple like names and phone numbers of people that they could easily find too, but you just you just gave them an easy button right in front of their face.
Exactly.
Like you're selling them anything, you're just giving them something. That's awesome.
Exactly. I'm trying to talk my husband into doing a dumpster day. He is resisting.
I love that. I think in any neighborhood, a dumpster, no mattresses or appliances.
Exactly.
But-
Or electronics or TVs. Yeah.
So one thing I just want to mention before anyone takes these and runs with it, check into the permitting through the city. Because I know like the city of Minneapolis, probably the city of Edina, and a lot of municipalities, you have to have a permit to put a dumpster or and the food trucks. The food trucks should know what they need to be able to park on the street. But
Yeah,
yeah,
got their own permit.
yeah, they got their own permit, right? But they're going to need to be, so it's just one level more of that you need to make sure to do so that you have it covered. But dumpsters are not, and usually the dumpster companies know that they need a permit and they take care of it. But it's just one more thing that you're maybe not anticipate from an expense standpoint. But love the dumpster day idea, like.
And for those that don't know quite what that is, I mean, literally, I'm a recent empty nester. I have a lot of crap in my house. So, it's for me too, but I figure rent a bigger dumpster, invite all the neighbors. Hey, if you have stuff you want to get rid of, here's a dumpster, you can dump it free. And then of course I have a little lemonade stand and, maybe freshly baked banana bread, and I'm schmoozing.
Absolutely. Shaking hands and kissing babies.
Dang right.
So 30-yard dumpsters, 40-yard is pretty much the biggest you can get. They're gigantic. They're like the size of a Bloomington Rambler. 30-yard and 40-yard, they're all under $500, even with a permit. So
You just park it in your driveway, or where do you?
you park it in the street if you have a big enough driveway, sure. Or you would do on the street with a permit if the municipality requires it. And you'd probably want to do more central location. And then you may even want to consider carts or some sort of a way to help them like move it toward, like trailers or carts or something.
Oh,
Like-
I like that.
Yeah, like trucks, like moving trucks or dollies, have dollies available so that they could come and move it because nobody wants, because it's in a central location. So it's not going to be easy for everyone. But it's a really great, like $500 goes a long way in that effort. I bet you could spend $500 and that includes the lemonade and the banana bread.
Dang right.
Yeah. I think take home ideas would be cute with that too. Like some sort of like your vendor list, like maybe printed on a magnet or with your branding or shoot, pieces of paper go a long way. Yeah, we all have too many of them, but one other thing is get their name, first name, last name, and an email address. Because guess what? We don't always need cell phone numbers, but we can use their email address. But get this out, find some way, like a drawing, that drawings usually can get that info. But sometimes if you don't ask for all the info, you have a more likelihood of getting their info, and you don't need their address because you can look it up yourself. So if you get a first name, a last name, and an email address, real easy, you can actually usually find the rest of the info. Or you can email them and be like, can I text you or something, and then ask for their cell number. But with Remind and how that whole system works, it's really easy to find the info. But honestly, have their name, you have their email address, you can look up their physical address and then get them on the neighborhood nurture. And then you can get them on neighborhood nurture without even having them give you any information because of Remind. But anyways, and again, what I want to say is this whole idea is like sharing ideas, what resonates with you. If you can't stand the idea of door knocking, don't do door knocking, right? Because there's a lot of other things you could do. So open houses, anyone holding open houses at a high level or doing anything?
Not enough.
Not enough?
I need more.
Need to do more? I think that there's something powerful about, okay, so door knocking is one thing. That's where you actually knock on the door. There's also door hangering, where you hang something on the door or put like an invitation to the open house or like recent sales or offer to put them on an email distribution for what's happening in their neighborhood. You do not have to actually knock on the door to have a conversation, but you can put stuff. And there are websites out there that have things you can order that make door hangering really easy, where that you just pop your business card in, it's already printed, ready to go. They're more expensive than just printing out a piece of paper, rolling it up and sticking it in the door. But open houses, along with door hangering or door knocking, go a long way, because the whole idea is you're personally inviting them to your open house and you're asking them if they have any neighbors that want to live in the neighborhood. A lot of when we talk about scripting has come from being in bold. Wouldn't you agree, Chris?
Absolutely.
Yep. So when we
Practice.
Practice. A lot of the scripts that we reference in this world here do come from bold. And they have door knocking scripts, they have listing presentation scripts, buyer presentation, cold calling scripts. So if you haven't been through it, it's an investment in your business for the long term. So just so everyone knows where it comes from, in case you want to participate next round. And then also like the Nick Baldwin event, or was it Glover? Who was the one last week?
Glover U.
Glover U, was that who
Yeah.
came in?
Yep.
So, that's where scripting comes from too sometimes. So just the idea. So open houses, other things to do within an open house, or the framework around an open house that takes it to the next level.
So Alexis, this is something I have coached for years. When I am at an open house, I have one mission. It is to set an appointment. It is not to hand my card to somebody who says they don't have an agent. It is to say, hey, how is Tuesday at 6 o'clock at this Caribou on this street? And that has been a game changer for me. Every single person I set an appointment with, I've converted.
Are you trying a buyer appointment or listing appointment, or either?
Either, actually.
So I loathe open houses. I can't stand them. But if I'm going to do them, I'm going to get the best. Like for me, I'd rather door knock and door hang than do open houses. Why? It doesn't matter, right? It's just me. Everyone else can be different. But the point is embrace what you can tolerate and avoid what you can't, really. So I do avoid open houses. When I have held them, my new winning approach has been, if you'd like information about any neighborhood, the activity of any neighborhood, so not even their neighborhood, right? Because some people rent and they could care less what happens in their rental neighborhood unless they're interested in buy. But all I need is your email address, and no obligation, but I'm happy to set you up and give you information on any neighborhood or all the neighborhoods you're interested in. And then it's not even like I'm selling me, because there's nothing like, there's no verb. Like, I'm not verbalizing anything about me. It's just about, do you want to know something that's happening in your neighborhood? And I love the idea of taking it one level further of let's meet, and you have a date and time kind of like, or 2 or 3 ready to go. But the whole idea is meaningful conversations, or a meaningful enough conversation that you could get to the point of scheduling an appointment. But we've all heard of affirmations, right? Like, I am awesome. I am energetic, right? I am going to set an appointment. You go into that open house and you're telling yourself, as you're putting the signs down, I'm going to set an appointment. You put the intention out there. It's just like an affirmation, and it's highly likely going to happen. And if you're meeting with these people, I mean, research shows that they meet with 1. They don't meet with 2 or 3, whether it's listing agents or buyer's agents. So get your foot in the door and attempt to meet with them. And you don't have to necessarily have it be about just real estate. You could say, if do you know anything about financing? If they say no, be like, great, I am going to educate you on the process to go through with financing. If you don't know anything about financing, then find a lender partner, bring them along, and have the coffee meeting with your lender. I mean, there's so many ways to provide value. It's really about that creativity of thinking in the moment and providing value. So I love that, Chris, that you're setting that appointment at the open house. Like, that's the intention of it.
And you're exactly right with what you say. I remember being a new agent and thinking, I have to dazzle them with how brilliant I am and why they should hire me, when really they just want to be listened to. They want someone to hear what they're looking for and help them solve their problem.
Absolutely.
So
I
it's-
know of an agent, because notoriously when you hold opens, who shows up besides adults at opens? Children. Kids, yep. And so this agent purposely goes out and gets like small bags of popcorn or like fruit snacks and just kind of gives all the attention to the kids, which the parents follow the kids around. And then they're like, oh, that person's really nice to my kids. That's really cool. And then there's this like natural endearing connection between the children, the realtor, and then they're having a conversation. Like, is your mommy and daddy looking for a house? You know, so it's very effective because that person is like, here's a bag of popcorn for the kids. Here's a fruit snacks. Here's granola bars. Here's like fresh made cookies from the day, like picking up some cookies before the open, right? Totally give the kids sugar and send them off. Like, I'm not working with you, lady. Don't give my kids sugar. But it wins their hearts for a moment and it encourages the conversation. So, you know, it's sometimes, you know, how we talk about come from contribution, being in open houses is the same way. We don't have to be the all-knowing, you guys, we've all been new agents, right? Maybe we are new agents. Like, just because you're new agents, and I've been doing this literally since I've been 7 years old, nobody knows the difference between you and me if we're standing right next to each other in an open house. They're gonna think we're both the same qualifications, both the same experience, both the same everything. So you have to think that whether you're 2 minutes in the business or, you know, 200 years in the business, you have the same value to offer, which is technically the truth. Right? So don't talk yourself down when you're in those moments, knocking on the door. And guess what? I've been licensed for 25 years and I say, I don't know all the time. It's totally okay. The more confident I am with saying I don't know, the more believable it is that I'll get the answer. And it's not a big deal that I don't actually know. Oh my gosh, you guys, if you hold open houses and they walk in and they're like, hey, do you know that house that was on Elm Street that's 16 blocks away and around the corner to the left and across the street from the monument? You're like, yes, because I'm a walking MLS. Of course I know which house you're talking about. That's the best one to like go in knowing. You're not going to know everything about every house that was like, you know, catty corner and 3 houses down and then Robert's next door neighbor. Okay. You really can say, I don't know. I think I know, but let me look that up on the MLS. You know, let me get more information for you, or not look it up right then and there. Can I have your contact info so I can get back to you and get you the information on that property? Or I know the listing agent, so I'll call the listing agent and get the information, or the buyer agent, whatever. Anything you can do to say I don't know is fine. But, you know, you can talk about having relationships or connections or familiarity in the business goes a long way. It's what happens when you've been in the business a long time. You genuinely have all these relationships, and, you know, a large majority of the time I can look at a transaction and I either know one or both of the agents on the transaction. But that's just because I've been doing this a long time. But that doesn't mean you couldn't say, I know the listing agent or I know the buyer agent, I'll give them a call. They cannot answer or call you back just because you know them, right? So it's sometimes it's just about that credibility builder, believing in yourself and being comfortable with saying, I don't know, and I'm going to get you the info. I'm going to find out. Okay, so door knocking, come from contribution, bring something with you. If you're inviting someone to an open house, or you're dropping off contractor list, or maybe you have something of value to bring them. Open houses, hold them at a high level. How about signage for open houses? Anything special? I know that we have in the past years in Keller Williams talked about putting balloons on signs, drawing attention to the balloons. We've gotten real creative with open houses, not just happening Saturday and Sunday, 12 to 2. Open houses can happen for 3 or 4 hours at a time. They can happen on Thursdays and Tuesdays. And I've held Tuesday tour, which is the next thing I want to talk about. So realtor broker tour. I've held those on Tuesdays and I've put them as public. So the realtors were coming through, and I've had actual buyers come into the Tuesday realtor tour. And so always a possibility that you'll get people that are available on Tuesdays or any day of the week for that matter. You hold it open, There's a chance that someone could come through. Anyone that has held agent open realtor tour yet? No. Anyone online do that yet?
You mean since 2016?
More specific, 2020, because that's really when they got shut down. 2020 is when we actually got shut down as an industry. We were told not to do open houses. Those have come back, but broker tours really shut down. Keller Williams traditionally isn't a company that has a lot of agent tours or realtor tours. A lot of other companies really rely heavily on those. But I think we could and should and definitely use it as a value add to our sellers. So the whole idea behind a realtor tour is traditionally in real estate, the sales meetings are Tuesday mornings. And then following the sales meetings, you go on tour from 11 to 1. They're every Tuesday. So any Tuesday of the week, you can actually go on the MLS and search for houses that are going to be hosted open by agents for an agent only tour. Oftentimes they have lunch or they have gas card giveaways. COVID shut all it down. So the idea is holding an open house from 11 to 1 with the intention of inviting realtors to the open house. And the reason the realtors are coming through is so you get feedback to give to your sellers, not from buyers, but from agents that know your market. And so you should have feedback forms there for them to fill out, talk to them about the house, get real specific feedback. You guys, and here's just a tip in general about feedback. Do not put the power and control in the buyer agent hands if you're a listing agent. You as a listing agent are in control of the type of feedback you get on your listings. And you do that by engaging in and requiring effective conversations after showings happen on your listings. When I'm a listing agent, I call every single buyer agent, fake them for the showing and talk to them. And I talk to them, what would it take to sell this house to your buyer? Now, I don't want to talk about the things that can't change, right? But talk to me about what are the houses that they looked at, that comparison. How is our pricing? How is our preparedness for market? Help them give you effective feedback, helpful feedback. Because there's no training for effective feedback anywhere in our education system for real estate. So what will help you? How was the carpet condition? Did you notice that it smelled like dogs? Did it, how was the space, the size of the bedrooms, could they see themselves as, oh, well, they really need a fence. Okay, well, if my sellers put in a fence, would your people buy it? Oh, maybe. Totally. I mean, us as realtors and doing our very best jobs to market and sell a home, that's our responsibility. We are in control of the type of feedback our sellers get because we can influence the information we're getting from the buyer's agents. And if the buyer's agents aren't having effective conversations with their buyers, who cares? The agent went through the house and can give you feedback from them. It's just like a realtor tour, right? So there's buyer feedback and then there's buyer feedback and then there's agent feedback. There's two different things, right? So the agent can speak intelligently about what they're seeing in the rest of the market. So realtor tours, anyways, getting back to that, the feedback forms that you bring with you for realtor tours are effective in having conversations to talk to your people about they really need to clean the carpet or they really need to reduce the price. You host the lunch or you have a lender host the lunch. I'll tell you what, I got lenders like raising their hand like crazy to help and participate and give money, and title companies will do the same thing. So sometimes you don't even have to. My rule is always 50 to 100 bucks on lunch is what I'll spend because Lord knows nobody comes in and eats a ton of stuff. So, and make sure it's something you want as leftovers. So you're not throwing away a bunch of stuff. And it could totally, there's also progressive agent opens, right? Where one place there's like appetizers, one place there's a sandwich, and then one place there's just a dessert. If they're nearby, you can do progressive opens with other brokerages. You can reach out, make it an effective, because we as agents don't want to waste a lot of time driving, Woodbury to St. Louis Park and then down to Lake Elmo or Lake Elko is what I was thinking. Right. So we're not going to do that on a Tuesday, all those places. So, all in one neighborhood. But that's the intention behind broker opens. And it's a way for you to You could do that as a, okay, so let's clarify, in withheld status, you can do a broker open for just our office in withheld status. And ask agents in our brokerages in our brokerage, just this one, to come to your broker open on a Tuesday before you go live, before you go coming soon. Curious, totally switching topics all over the board. Who's still using coming soon and is it effective? I haven't seen it be as effective.
I'm using it on all my listings, and so far my sellers have really liked it because it gives them a chance to put all of the showings in a short period of time. So for me, max, we've gone under contract in 3 days. So we've had all of our showings like boom, 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 and they like that part of it. But otherwise, that's the only reason for me.
Yeah, and the every listing I've seen where I'm doing my business is the showings aren't being set up like that. Like I could be in coming soon for 3 days to 5 days beforehand. And the showings don't start getting set up the day they go active. So I'm starting to question whether or not it's going to be effective moving forward, unless it's needed. We were putting it on coming soon just because of the pent up demand. But I've started to see that, like I'll put it on coming soon and we'll have like no showings or but one set up. And then the day it goes active, more just kind of trickle in. But I haven't been able to control the showing activity like we could the last 6 months.
I think it's more effective on a lower price range. The upper price range I didn't have any showing scheduled until it actually went active. But I think the lower price range, and we had talked earlier, before you came, Alexis, too. It seems like the 400 mark is kind of a magical, below that, we're still getting a lot of showings and more offers. Above that, it's really, really, really slowed. Is that what you're finding too?
It's the pocket areas for me. In some areas, I feel like 800,000 goes fast, but I think that in our south of the river area, it's a hard one to say because I think 400 and below is all entry level for sure. It's all entry level. So I think those go fast, but I have heard that that's the biggest segment of the market that the buyers have been cut out of the ability to qualify and purchase. Because if they were approved for 375, they're now approved for 300 or 275, or, that might be a little drastic, but then there's no inventory. So,
we'll talk about, I did some open houses, not a realtor open house, but just open houses. Yeah. For the first time this spring on 2 different listings. Attendance was very, very poor. I hardly had anybody come. Even the 400, price range, I didn't get it. I did 3 open houses. I had one listed in the 600 range, and I had 3 people in about 3 different open houses is all.
Yeah, I would say that is more typical of a balanced market, to be totally honest. In my experience that, open houses, you hold with the hope that people are going to come through, but you don't necessarily guarantee traffic just because you're holding an open house. And you could do it, you could schedule it for this Saturday, you could have it on Saturday, and then you could have another one 3 Saturdays from now and have 20 people 3 Saturdays from now. It's anyone's best guess. It's like you have to hold a crystal ball and see what's going to happen, because we're in the midst of summer. 4th of July is this next weekend, next Monday. It's a week from today. So that's a huge factor, because Minnesota historically gets hugely distracted by cabins and kids in the summer. And yeah, not everyone has kids, so it's not as necessarily relevant. But if they don't have kids, they might be distracted with their cabin or just enjoying the outdoors, because we've been COVID pent up and weather pent up. So, summer to me historically is always a crapshoot what you're going to get out of open houses. But once you get into like September, where we have another surge in the market, I think we're going to get back into more traditionally cyclical market. So, February, March, April will be the high time, and then September, October will be the high time. So, summer is kind of a crapshoot. And even today, like, I'm super excited to see all of us participate in this mastermind, because it's the same thing for running an office and inviting people to participate in activities. You never know if you are going to be still cabin agents or what you're going to be doing. Not like the outdoor knocking like crazy, right? Because we're just trying to be normal human beings where we get to enjoy the weather and not be stuck inside. So summer's a crapshoot. September, October gets to be much better with more guaranteed interest and stuff like that. And we're also reaching that point in summer where if families have children, they're going to slowly decline their interest in looking, because if they have kids school age, they want to get in by they want to close by the end of August. So they should have been looking all of May and all of June. And so we're, basically through the end of July, mid-July or something like that is really that last window. So if you don't have a relationship with someone that has kids, like for those urgent closings, just something to take in mind or keep in mind and consider. So yeah, you never know what's going to happen at an open house. You don't always have a ton of traffic.
And in my opinion, it only takes one.
It only takes one. Yeah, it only takes one. Absolutely. So realtor tours, door knocking, open houses, with the last 7 minutes of what we've got left, any other creative ideas to reach out to your sphere, being in touch with your sphere more? Past clients and people that love you? So Allie and I, we talked about this at the ALC meeting, but just bringing it up in this group, we're doing two things this summer. We did a plastic pitcher from Target, put fresh lemons inside the pitcher and a cup of sugar in a little bag, and then made a postcard that talks about hope your summer is easy peasy lemon squeezy, and then a recipe on the back for homemade lemonade, like fresh squeezed lemonade. And so we each did about 30 of those, and then we did multiple points of contact with these are the people that like we've sold the house to and that we really like, and they really like us from all indications. And then we popped them by their house. So it's and it was less than $10 a piece. It was around $8 that we calculated them out to be. A ton of work, but at the same time, so cute, which is totally and our office manager admin, he's a guy and he's like, my wife would love this. And he's also, they're also my past clients. And I was like, as long as we're getting someone in the family to appreciate that, right? Like kids, the mom, whatever it happens to be. And I have a single guy that I'm dropping it off to, and he would think the same thing. Like, this is a really cute, fun idea, right? So those were the top, like our top 25, 30 that we dropped those off to. And it's a lot of work, 30 deliveries. It really worth it. Conversations, social media posts, being tagged in it, cute idea, very appreciative. And then we also ordered these, and they're going out this week. They're cards in the mail with envelopes, and we put our business card in it, and then also a $1 scratch off, and it's 4th of July themed, talking about a pop rock and explode or exciting 4th of July. So that goes to the remainder of the database, basically. So the top 30 get the special love and attention, and then everybody, and those came out to be about $2.50 a piece. So the envelopes, the card, and so we pop our business card in, we got, the scratch offs, then they get sent out. So the idea is that someone's hearing from us in the summer, they're hearing from us in some way, shape, or form. And we're just doing something to keep in touch with our people. And that top 30 got phone calls, emails, and text messages from us along the way. And then we're hoping that by buying as many scratch offs as we are, that someone hits and we can, promote it and show the excitement, because a ton of our people are gonna get them, right? And even if they don't get them on the 4th of July, because they might be out of town as of Friday, nothing has to spoil, nothing has to sit in the mail, and it's still super cute and fun for them to be like, because even the day or two after 4th of July still kind of feels festive and like the 4th of July and stuff. So, there's ideas like that you can just pop in and send them, and you can buy like 20 of those scratch off type things, or guess what? You can get an envelope, you can buy a scratch off and take your business card and put a Post-it note on it and send it to people and like wishing you good luck, this summer, here you go, or put a penny in the jar with it, right? Or in the envelope with it. And what's that, $1.50, maybe like 10 cents for the envelope. I mean, that's a way to do it. That's very inexpensive. It doesn't have to be high level, printing and materials and stuff like that. Do you remember, were you in the ALC meeting? Do you remember what other people were saying they were doing?
I know Sue had a couple great ideas.
Oh yeah, she did.
At that brewery.
She hosted a brewery event.
Through Eventbrite.
Through Eventbrite, yeah, Eventbrite.
Like 100 people, I think. Out
Yeah.
of 400.
Yeah, she invited 400 people. So in the world of KW, we talk about the 36 touch. And so if you're in your database, they should get touched, meaning called, texted, emailed, or in person 36 times a year for it to be effective. And just a quick calculation, if you do that with your people continuously, in the second year of having done the 36 touch with everyone in it, you should earn $900 gross commission income for every single person in your database. That's how effective it is. If you have 100 people, 900 times 100 is $90,000 gross commission income, right? So think about if you had even more and you're touching those people that many times. So Sue Evans basically found a brewery. There was no rental for the space. She bought everyone a pint of beer at the brewery and had
Super cute glass too.
the pint glasses that they were branded to her. And then she got she went to Hy-Vee and got like finger food, like fruits and veggie, fruit and cheese and cracker plate, fruit plate, veggie plate. And it was like a couple hours and she spent $1,000. She invited 400 people and 100 people came. And they thought it was just a great, easy, laid back, like no pressure, come and grab it and come to the brewery, see the brewery, grab a pint. So super effective, because when you think about it, like there's a lot of effort that went into that. But she had this huge event. She reached 400 people essentially for $1,000. Oh, she did send some invites in the mail. But like I did those lemonade things and I drove them around, right? Well, that was $300, right? If they're 10 a piece and I did 30, her $1,000 for 100 people went a long way. She got to talk to 400. So for $1,000, she connected with 400 people. Super effective. Right? So it's just about doing something that relates, that you're willing to do, that relates to you, that you can get excited about or get behind. And it can be simple and easy, like a scratch off. It can be some sort of value that you can bring to your database that makes sense for you. And there's all kinds of, go online and be like realtor marketing on Google. You'll get all kinds of ideas. It's just a ton of ideas that are out there. And if you don't have a budget to spend on marketing, what is free?
Phone calls, emails, texts,
Text messages, yeah.
knocking on doors.
Social media messages.
I have found people just like to be thought of.
Yeah.
So I was neglectful of my database for a few years, and I literally just made a point to drive past their house and call them and say, oh my gosh, I just drove by your house. Your landscaping looks amazing, or I see you painted, or some touch to restart the conversations.
Yep.
And I love the idea of the scratch offs. It doesn't have to be expensive. People just like to be thought of.
And Chris, to your point, if we all went through every single person we've ever had a friendship with or sold a house to, and we thought about like looked at their contact record and said, what have I ever talked to them about related to real estate? Maybe it was an interest rate conversation. Maybe it was a kitchen remodel. Maybe it was fixing a wet basement. Maybe it was, if we're a realtor, let's be honest, we've talked to, even if we're not realtors, people talk about what's wrong with their houses all the time.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you could drive by the house you sold and you could see something they've done for sure. I have a family that I sold a house to like 10 years ago. And every once in a while, I'm like, did you do the kitchen remodel yet? How's that basement project going? Right? It's just those little things where those are not costly for you to make a phone call or send an email or send a text. And in this day and age, texts go a long way. People almost regard them as valuable as a phone call because you didn't call. And it doesn't matter. It honestly doesn't matter what generation you're from. We've all come to the point of like, oh, don't leave me a voicemail. So a phone call, a text message, email, those are both effective ways of keeping in touch that are low expense. And if you're a brand new agent, I can say, I bet you could go through your list of contacts in your phone and think of any type of real estate related conversation you've ever had with someone. Because guess what? If you're a new agent, people are like, oh, you're a realtor. Oh, da, 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 da. Right? They start telling you stuff. So think about what did they tell you and reach out and be like, did you ever do that? And guess what? If you had someone say, oh, I need a contractor. Can you help me find a contractor? Yep, you can, because that's what we do as realtors. We help them find a contractor. And guess what that does? It adds a contractor to your vendor list, right? And that you can use for other purposes. Even if you don't have one, well, there's lots of ways of finding one. So.
And one more thing, I'm going to chime in. At the beginning of my career, when I had no past clients, I would get groups of my sphere and invite them to coffee. And I would say, I need your help. I want to know your experience with buying and selling real estate, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because I want to be one of the best. So let me learn from you. Oh my gosh, people loved that. And within that first year, each group I did that with gave me at least one referral.
I believe it.
Offer to do free CMAs. Hey, I want to hone my skills. Can I do a CMA on your house?
Yeah, you all could post a thing on Facebook today. I just learned a new technique for how to value a home. Who wants a free CMA on their home to understand their home's value? Please tell me you'd at least have one person respond, because I think you might have 10. And if you have 10 people you're doing a market analysis on, you're practicing and they're getting value and you have more reason, guess what? Then you set them up on a neighborhood nurture through command.
Exactly.
And then you follow up with them in 3 months and be like, oh my gosh, are you thinking about selling now that you know your home is worth so much? Absolutely, great point. All right, anything else before we wrap up? We're 4 minutes over.
Thanks for doing this.
On the CMA. After you give them the free CMA, I've heard a couple of things. I've heard you shouldn't give them an actual number of what their home is worth, because then they can just go to any other agent and say, hey, I want you to list my house for this. So
It happens all the time.
what would you suggest?
I give away the information all the time, and I get people that use it and list with someone else. I mean, none of us are going to get all the business from the information we're providing. The whole idea is that we get more business than we would have had had we not done it.
Okay, thank you for that.
Chris, did you have something?
Nope, I was just going to say thanks for doing this. It's my first official KW Select Mastermind. Yes.
Well, thanks for participating. Thanks for all of you for being here. And I hope you all take one thing away and implement it and find some success with it.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Have a good day, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.